So picture this for a second, right? Your biggest competitor just raised $50 million, and your team is telling you we need to reallocate our entire marketing budget right now to protect market share. Which channels would you double down on? Which would you cut? And how confident are you that those decisions wouldn't completely mess up your pipeline in the next 6 to 12 months? If you're thinking, oh, I need to look at some data or I need to go talk to somebody on my team, then you've already identified the exact blind spot that is costing you millions every year. And that's what I'm covering for you today. So if you're like most tech founders or execs I talk to on paper, your marketing looks great, right? Traffic is up, leads are up, conversions are up. And every month you get dashboards with green arrows pointing up. But your business is telling you a different story. You're not sure if the budget is actually working or if you're just burning cash. Your CAC keeps creeping up. Your sales keep saying lead quality is getting worse. Your churn is higher than you expected. And when investors are asking you what's the ROI of marketing, you keep giving them activity metrics because that's all you have access to. So you're making really big budget decisions based on data that you don't fully trust. And I'm going to talk about why this is happening in your business. There are a few mistakes that I have seen. The first one being last touch attribution. That means your tools are giving 100% of the credit for a customer to the very last marketing touch point that happened before they're converted. So I know you like basketball, so I'm going to give you a basketball analogy. It's like you're watching a whole basketball game and giving all the credit to the person who made the final shot. And you're ignoring everyone else who passed the ball, who created the plays, who set up the shot. And honestly, this is happening because every tool you use, that's what it defaults to. Google Analytics, your CRM, your marketing automation platform. They all show you whatever the last click was. So you have your Google Ads manager telling you, oh, look, Google Ads drove 45% of your customers. But your content person is also telling you, no, our blog drove 25% of the customers. And you have your email person telling you, no, email drove 30% of the customers. And problem is they're all looking at the same customers and each channel is taking credit. But the real journey is way more complex, right? People research you for months, right? They're reading your content, they're joining your email list, they're attending your webinar, they're getting retargeted. And then that's when they're finally converting, when they click on an ad or a branded search result. But what Last Touch is doing is it's ignoring everything that came before that final click. And here's what I don't love about that. It's that it makes demand capture channels like Google Ads look like superstars, and it makes the demand creation channels like content, webinars, blog, community look weak. So you cut content and the top of funnel activities and dump more money into Google Ads. But the only reason Google Ads looked good in the first place is because content and awareness were feeding it. So when you cut these channels, you starve the engine that created future demand. And then 6 months later, as you've seen, your Google ads are more expensive now. Your CAC is going up, your lead quality is dropping, and sales is slowing down. And everybody's confused because the numbers used to look great. This is the vicious cycle that most teams fall into without realizing it. So let me give you an example, a snippet of what we found with you, right? So as you can see here, you can see that Google Ads is driving hundreds of conversions, organic search is fewer, email is fewer. So as a CEO, you'd probably think, oh, well, ads are clearly our top performing channel, so let's invest more in there. But when we traced the full customer journey over several months, we found that 78% of those Google Ads conversions actually started with organic search. Right? Your people are discovering the company through content months earlier, and they're reading blogs, watching videos, doing your ROI calculator, etc., and then clicking on a branded Google ad when they were ready to buy. So Google Ads took the credit only because it was the last click. And as the CEO, what you'd probably be thinking is, oh, I'm going to cut content by around 40% and then increase Google Ads by 60%. But that decision would quietly destroy the demand engine that's actually fueling your pipeline. Right? And then the second mistake, while I'm talking about pipeline, is your pipeline velocity blindness. That's mistake number two. Right now, you're measuring marketing like it's 2010. You're optimizing for lead volume, cost per lead, and top of funnel conversion rates, right? But you're not tracking how different channels are impacting your deal size, your sales cycle length, your close rate, your churn, and your lifetime value. So, a channel that generates tons of leads looks really great, even if those leads take forever to close and churn twice as fast. Meanwhile, your blogs are getting fewer leads, but those leads close faster for more money with lower churn. Those are not equal leads, but your dashboards treat them like they are. And this is happening because your marketing and your sales team look at different metrics. And nobody's connecting the source of the lead to the outcome of the deal. So here's what this is looking like. Your MQOs are up 67%. Your conversion rates are up 23%. And your cost per lead is down 15%, right? And everybody's celebrating. But on the business side, your average deal size is down, your sales cycles are getting longer, your close rates are dropping, and your churn is rising. So when I spoke to your different teams, marketing thinks they're killing it. Sales says the leads are bad. Customer success says the customers aren't a fit. And finance sees CAC rising and LTV shrinking. And nobody can explain what's happening because no one is measuring lead quality or pipeline velocity by channel, right? And then the third thing that I've noticed is you have what we call the customer journey fragmentation. Right now, your business is looking at customer journey in pieces. Website analytics here, product analytics, email sequences, sales calls, community, webinars, all separate. And each team only sees their slice. But that's not how the customer experiences you. From their perspective, it is one continuous journey. And when that journey isn't connected, you get friction, you get confusing handoffs, and you lose high value deals. And no one realizes what's actually broken because nobody has the full picture. That's usually just an organizational chart problem because everybody owns their own system. So no one owns the whole journey. So when the journey is fragmented, you end up cutting channels that actually matter because they don't convert directly. But when we stitch the full journey together, we found that people who read your technical documentation are 4 times more likely to become enterprise customers. Your community members churn 67% lower. Anyone who completes your ROI calculator closes 84% faster. And webinar attendees are 5 times more likely to become high value customers months later. You didn't know that, yeah? You'll just see in the report that we're going to send you. So none of that is showing up in that last touch reporting. So your teams are cutting channels thinking they're saving money when they're actually cutting the things that would make every other channel perform better. So here's the shift that you need to lead as the CEO. You have to stop trying to figure out which channels gets the credit and instead ask what sequences of touch points lead to the highest revenue, fastest sales cycle, and lowest churn. So let me repeat myself. Instead of trying to figure out which channel gets the credit, ask which sequences of touch points leads to the highest revenue. So when you look at it that way, you stop optimizing channels in isolation and you start orchestrating like complete journeys. For example, you could say, content and then community, ROI calculator, sales calls, product trial. And each touch point builds trust, reduces friction, and speeds up the decision. And that's where you get the real compounding effect. Now, I know you might be thinking, okay, this makes sense, so why isn't everybody doing it? And it's because it isn't a simple let's buy another tool, let's have another subscription problem. It's operational. It needs you to connect the data across multiple systems. You have to build a proper tracking and analytics foundation, and you have to align marketing, sales, product, and finance around the same metrics. But most teams try to fix this by adding another attribution tool or another dashboard, but you can't solve a system problem with a point solution. You need the full framework, which is why I built the revenue attribution blueprint to help you get a clear structure for unifying your customer data, tracking your complete journeys, measuring the true revenue impact of each channel, and aligning your teams around real business metrics. Once this is in place, believe me, you will stop guessing. You will stop fighting about whose dashboard is right. You'll finally see what's driving revenue, not just leads. So I just want to bring you back to the conversation we had earlier. If your board asked you tomorrow, which marketing channels actually drive the highest revenue impact, and how do you know which channels would you confidently defend? I want you to answer this once I send you the report. But until I do, I want to give you two quick exercises that you can run right after this call. First is I want you to map the 10 high value customers, not the quick wins, the big ones. I want you to manually trace their journey from first touch all the way to closed one. And you'll see very quickly that you're probably only capturing about 30% of the real journey in your current dashboards. The second thing is I want you to cut a channel on paper by 50%. Just hypothetically and ask, what are the ripple effects on the rest of the system if you cut this channel? If no one knows and they only guess, that's a sign you needed a better attribution, a better revenue attribution. And after we're done, you'll make the decisions that actually protect and grow your revenue, not just your marketing numbers.